My mother, Ruth, used to say it like gospel, a good husband keeps the lights on. That was it. That was the whole definition. If the bills were paid and the roof didn't leak and there was food in the refrigerator, you had a good marriage, you were lucky, and Lord, you had better be grateful. I believed her because her marriage to my father looked exactly like that. Quiet, stable, unquestioned. Daddy worked at the railroad, Mama kept the house. Nobody asked if they were happy. That wasn't the word people used. The word was fine. Everything was fine. So when I met Gerald Caldwell in 1954, I measured him the way my mother taught me. Steady job, good family, didn't drink, didn't run around. He wore pressed shirts and opened doors, and when he asked my father for permission to marry me, my father said, "He'll take care of you, Vivian." And that settled it. We were married in June of 1955. I was 19. Gerald was 24, and he did take care of me. I want to be clear about that. Gerald took care of me for 54 years. He just never knew me. That's different, isn't it? Being taken care of and being known. I didn't understand the difference for a long time, decades. I had the house, the nice car, the neighborhood where the lawns were always cut. Gerald handled the mortgage, the insurance, the taxes, the car repairs. If something broke, Gerald fixed it. If something cost money, Gerald paid it. He was a provider the way some men are breathing. Constant, automatic, unquestioned. But here's what Gerald never did. Not once in 54 years. He never asked me what I was thinking. He never asked me what I dreamed about. He never walked into a room and said, "Tell me something I don't know about you." He never asked about a book I was reading, or a song I was humming, or why I was standing at the window, looking out at nothing. I could have been a painting on the wall, something decorative he'd hung in 1955 and never really looked at again. Now, I should tell you, I didn't see it clearly at first. You don't. When you're young and the house is new, and you're busy raising children and keeping up with everything a wife was supposed to keep up with, you don't notice the absence of something you were never taught to expect. But I started to notice. 1963, 8 years married. I'd set up a small studio in the spare bedroom. Watercolours, nothing grand, just something that was mine. I'd paint in the afternoons when Diane was napping, and for those 2 hours I was Vivian. Not Gerald's wife, not Diane's mother, just Vivian with a brush and a glass of water and some colours that made sense to me. One evening Gerald walked past the room and said, "That paint is making a mess of the spare room." He didn't raise his voice. He wasn't angry. He said it the way you'd mention a leaky faucet, a problem to be noted and corrected. I packed everything away that weekend, the brushes, the paper, the little tin of watercolours I'd bought with grocery money. I put it all in a box in the closet and I closed the door. Gerald never mentioned it again, never asked why I stopped, never noticed the box in the closet, or the empty afternoons, or the part of me that went quiet and stayed quiet for the next 46 years. And here's what I have to own, because this is where my part comes in. Gerald didn't forbid me from painting. He didn't demand I stop. He said it made a mess. I'm the one who decided that meant I had to give it up. I could have pushed back. I could have said, "This matters to me." I could have fought for that spare room the way I should have fought for a lot of things, but I was Ruth's daughter, and Ruth's daughter didn't make demands. Ruth's daughter was grateful, so I was grateful, and I was disappearing, and I didn't even know it. The years went on the way years do in a marriage like that. Ordinary, steady. Gerald went to work. Gerald came home. Gerald ate dinner. Gerald watched the news. Gerald went to bed. Saturday, he mowed the lawn. Sunday, we went to church. He kissed me on the forehead every night, same spot, same pressure, same gesture. I used to think that was love. A reliable kiss on a reliable forehead. Then came 1978. Our 23rd anniversary. Gerald made reservations at a restaurant downtown. Expensive. White tablecloths. Candles. The whole picture. He ordered for me. He always ordered for me. Not to be controlling. He just never considered that I might want to choose for myself. It didn't occur to him. That's the thing about Gerald. It never occurred to him. We sat across from each other for almost 2 hours. He talked about the house. The gutters needed replacing. He talked about his office. Someone was retiring. He talked about Diane. She was doing well at school. He did not, at any point in 2 hours, say a single thing about me, about us, about 23 years of building a life together, and somewhere between the salad and the check, I heard myself say it. Gerald, do you ever wonder what I think about? He looked at me the way you look at someone who's just asked a strange question. Polite confusion. What do you mean? He wasn't being cruel. I need you to understand that. He genuinely did not understand what I was asking. My inner life, my thoughts, my feelings, my private world, was a room he'd never entered, because it never occurred to him that the door was there. We drove home in silence, but it was a different kind of silence than the one I was used to. The old silence was just absence. This silence had a name. I just didn't say it out loud. I need to tell you about Margaret Hollins. Margaret was my closest friend for 40 years. Our husbands worked in the same company. We raised our children alongside each other. Margaret was the one person I could sit with and not perform the happy wife routine. Margaret's husband, Walter, was a different kind of man than Gerald. Not better in every way. Walter had his own shortcomings, I'm sure. But Walter looked at Margaret. That's the only way I know to say it. He looked at her like she was interesting, like even after 35 years, he hadn't figured her all the way out, and he was glad about it. 1985. A Tuesday in October. I walked into Margaret's kitchen and there they were, Walter and Margaret, dancing, no music on the radio that I could hear, no anniversary, no special occasion, just a Tuesday afternoon and Walter Hollins swaying his wife around the kitchen like they were 22. He saw me in the doorway and he didn't even stop, just smiled and said, "Can't help it. She's still the prettiest girl in Virginia." I laughed. I had coffee. I stayed an hour, and then I drove home, and I pulled into the driveway, and I turned the car off, and I sat there for 20 minutes, not crying. I want you to understand, I was not crying. It was worse than crying. It was knowing with a certainty that settled into my bones like weather that Gerald would never dance with me in a kitchen, not because he was mean, not because he didn't care in his way, but because it would never occur to him. I was his wife, I was his responsibility, I was the mother of his child, I was the woman whose forehead he kissed every night in the same spot, but I was not his delight. I never had been, and that knowing, it wasn't anger. I want you to understand that too. It was grief, like finding out something died that you didn't even know was alive. I carried that grief for years. Quietly. The way I carried everything. Gerald kept providing. I kept being grateful. The machine of our marriage kept running the way it always had, smooth and quiet and completely hollow in the centre. But here is where I need to be honest. About Gerald, about what I understand now that I couldn't see then. Gerald grew up watching his father do exactly what Gerald did. Go to work, come home, sit in the chair, provide. Gerald's father never danced in a kitchen. Gerald's father never asked his wife what she dreamed about. Gerald's father built a house around his family and called it love, because that's what his father did, and his father before that. It was inheritance, not cruelty. It was a man repeating the only language he'd ever been taught, not knowing there were other languages, not knowing his wife was starving for a word he'd never learned. And me, I have to own this part too. I never taught him. I never sat him down and said, Gerald, I need you to be curious about me. I need you to ask me questions. I need you to see me as a person, not a role. I hinted. I waited. I sighed. I stared out windows. I sat in driveways, but I never said the plain words, because Ruth's daughter didn't ask for more. We were both trapped in different rooms of the same quiet house. 1996. Our daughter Diane was 37, engaged to a man named Paul. She came to my kitchen to show me the ring, and she said something that stopped my heart. He's stable, Mama. He'll take care of me. Ruth's words, my mother's words, coming out of my daughter's mouth. The same blueprint, the same lie, about to build the same beautiful, empty house. I took Diane's hands. I looked at her, and I said something I'd never said out loud to anyone in my entire life. Does he ask you questions, baby? Does he want to know what you dream about? Diane went quiet, that quiet where you know someone just heard something true. She didn't answer me that day. She broke the engagement 3 months later. Diane is 66 now. She's been married to a man named James for 27 years. James asks her about her day. James knows what books she's reading. James is curious about her. And when I visit their house, sometimes I catch them in the kitchen, and I think of Margaret and Walter, and I think, there it is. That's what it's supposed to look like. Diane is the reason I'm telling you this, because my pain did something useful. The silence I kept for 54 years, it finally turned into words, and those words caught my daughter before she walked into the same cage. Gerald died in 2009, heart failure. He was 78, 3 days before he passed. In the hospital, he reached for my hand. Gerald almost never reached for me. In 54 years, I could count the times on one hand. But that morning he reached, and he held on, and he looked at me with wet eyes, and he said 2 words. I tried, Viv. I don't know exactly what he meant. I've spent 16 years turning those words over. Did he mean he tried to love me the way I needed? Did he mean he tried to be enough? Did he mean he tried and didn't know how? I'll never know. He died 3 days later, and the conversation I should have started in 1963 will never be finished now. But his hand was warm, and his eyes were wet. And I believe in my bones that those were the most honest words Gerald Caldwell ever said to me. He wasn't a villain. I need you to hear that. He was a man who built a house around a woman and thought that was the same as holding her. If you're listening to this and you're married to someone who provides for you, who pays the bills, who fixes what's broken, who keeps the lights on. I need you to hear me clearly. That is not enough. A provider and a partner are not the same thing. A roof is not a marriage. Bills paid on time is not love. You can be financially comfortable and emotionally starving, and the worst part is the world will tell you to be grateful. They'll say, "At least he takes care of you," and you'll nod, and you'll smile, and you'll die a little more every year. Don't do what I did. Don't wait 54 years to say what you need. Don't sit in driveways. Don't pack away the things you love because someone told you they made a mess. Don't measure a marriage by what it costs and ignore what it gives. You still have time. That's why I'm saying this. Gerald is gone, and those conversations will never happen. But yours can, tonight, at your kitchen table. You can look at the person across from you and say, "Do you know what I dream about?" And if they lean in, you'll know. I'm 89 years old. I paint again now. I picked it up 10 years ago, after Gerald died, after the spare room was finally mine. The brushes are still there, and the light comes through that window in the afternoons, and for 2 hours a day, I'm Vivian. I just wish I'd been Vivian the whole time. If this reached something in you, pass it along. Someone in your life needs to hear it.